It's Rusty Ferret's tutorial time. Well, hello and welcome back to another Rusty Ferret tutorial. Excuse the microphone. The audio was crap when I did this yesterday, so we're doing this. So we're here to talk about bleeding, specifically yarn bleeding, which is something that's not good. It's something as dyers we strive not to have. We don't want you receiving yarn that's going to bleed, but unfortunately it does happen sometimes. The main reason being that the dye is just not set enough. So if you're having problems with bleeding at home with your yarn, let me show you how you can fix it, because it is dead straightforward. You only need a couple things, and yeah, I believe you can do it. So let's go. A stainless steel pan that you don't use for food, citric acid or vinegar, a stirring implement, again not used for food, something to cook on, beautiful, and the thing that you want to stop bleeding. I'm using dyed yarn here just as an example. So this is an example of yarn that's bleeding. It hasn't been set properly. You can see that there's still colour in the water that's coming out when I squeeze it, and when I rinse it, it's still bleeding colour, which is not what we want. So what we're going to do is get your stainless steel pan, about 3/4 fill it with water, and get that up, not quite to a boil, but pretty hot where you're not going to want to put your hand in there. Once your water is hot, I would add your acid here, whether that's your citric acid or your vinegar. I would recommend using about a tablespoon. For no other reason than I've just found that works. Give it a good stir and get that stuff dissolved. Once your water is up to nearly boiling, this is when you can add your item, garment, yarn, whichever. So what you want to do is just pop that in the hot water there. I would advise pre-soaking, which just allows it to sink better. And we're going to let this sit for roughly a half an hour. After your half an hour, what you want to do is just check on your item, make sure it's okay, and turn your cooker off. As you can see here, we've got a bit of bubbling, which means it's starting to boil. This is fine because it's superwash, but please be careful if you're using non-superwash items. Once your water has completely cooled down, often overnight, you're safe to take out your item. This just allows the acid to work a bit longer and the heat to just do its thing. So the next step is to take it to the sink and give it another rinse. By this stage, hopefully, there should be no more colour coming out of that yarn or your item. You might get a little bit of colour just to start with. This could just be loose dye particles or whatever. Give it a rinse maybe 1 or 2 times just to double check. But yay, fingers crossed that it's all worked. If it hasn't worked, feel free to repeat again. Some colours just need a little bit of extra TLC. Last step is I would recommend soaking your item. I do this by filling up a bowl of hot water, not roasting hot, just like you could put your hand in it, with a little bit of fairy liquid or Lidl's fairy liquid, and letting it sit. This really helps if you've used vinegar, because vinegar stinks. So it just gets rid of that smell out of your garment. Then you just block as normal, and hopefully you're good to go. So have you managed to fix your bleeding? I really hope you have. Something that I just want to add on to the end, just in case it's a question, is the type of dye that is used on animal fibers, so protein fibers, is called acid dye. Now, acid sounds really scary, but it just means that you use a mild acid to fix it. So like citric acid, which is used in like bath bombs and things, or vinegar, we eat that, so it's not too dangerous. If you were using something like plant fibers, so cellulose fibers like cotton or linen, it's a different type of dye you need for that, and it would be an alkali you need to fix it. So just in case you wondered why, 1, the dye is called acid dye, and 2, why we're using an acid to fix it. That's my reason, that is the reason. I'm not really good at explaining the science behind it, but there are resources out there that I can link down below if you are that way inclined. But thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope it was useful. Leave me any comments down below of anything I can expand on or do better, or I'm not really sure. I'm open to constructive criticism. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I hope all your yarns never bleed, but if they do, now you can fix them. Okay, thank you. Bye! Be good!